Keke, Slim Thug, that's the artist. I know Baby Bash. I know you got 409 Jade. You know what I'm saying? That's some pretty big names, especially if you coming from Houston. Like those are some of the biggest names in the game. So let's just get to the beginning of things, pretty much. So how did you first get involved in management?
Man, I was doing everything, man. I was doing retail for a record label. I've done that. I was a promoter from the get-go. But I always had my hands on the management side. It really didn't come true. I managed a group way back in the day called the Mob, Money Over Begging Bitches. That was a group out of East Oakland.
Okay.
And believe it or not, man, it's full circle that my boy was an engineer for my project, and he was really an intern, Ghazi, who ended up being the CEO and owner and founder of Empire.
Empire Records?
Well, it's Empire Records Distribution.
Yeah, distribution.
Yes. So he was my intern. We go way back, man, in the 90s. And so I was always a road manager, too, after that, a high-end role. Like, when I was road managing, it was $300 to $3,500 a week.
Right.
Right? Which for a road manager, I'm doing what I love. I ain't spending no money. I'm not paying no money to eat and sleep. That's paid for by the labels or the promoters. So I had a good living going with that, but it just transitioned into management. It started off with Traded True, then it ended up with Slim. And Bash was with me already, man. It's been 20 years almost with Bash. And Slim's been 15 years. And then I had Zero, and a lot of artists have come through my management team. Kirko Bangz, GT Garza. A lot of the Houston artists have come through. Some didn't stay, not because it was a problem, or because a lot of it is because of the time. Like, I don't have time to be. It takes a special artist to be with me in management, because I don't have. Look, as I'm walking in here with you, what I'm doing, I'm on the phone with Jade, right? So imagine if I can't take them calls for a day. Well, some artists can't take that. They start thinking like, damn, I'm not important, or I need somebody that's going to be there.
They want their priority.
And they deserve it. And so if it don't fit into this group, then I fully understand it, and we still go on and be friends and brothers, and it's never a situation where we hate each other.
Right. But does working with artists like Slim Thug and Baby Bash and Keke, is it easier with them because of how established they are already?
They know what they got to do. I don't got to call them every day. And listen, one of my downfalls as a manager has been, and see, I never said this in no interviews, you're the first one to hear this, has been I don't like the studio. I don't like sitting in the studio for 9 hours. I can't write a rap. I can't rap a rap for you. So why am I here?
Just there.
Right? I'd rather hear it at the end. Now, you can call me and say, I'm going to be done with the studio at 5 in the morning and show up.
Yeah.
Bet. But I don't want to sit there through the whole process, because why? I have 9 artists. So those are hours that I could be spending on the phone dealing with the other stuff. I'm also there. I'm a licensed and bonded booking agent, so I book other shows also for people. So I spend those time. Think about it. Right now, 8:30, it's only 6:30 in Cali.
Right.
We still open for business out there. So it comes down to just having enough time to be with these artists, man, and the artist has to understand that. But the other good thing is all my artists will work with each other. Okay. Like right now, I got an artist named Mr. Kane that I just signed recently.
I'm definitely familiar with Mr. Kane.
A lot of people ain't familiar with him here, but in Baton Rouge in Louisiana, he's like Kevin Gates.
Yeah, that's our territory.
So he's in the studio right now shooting a video, and my other 2 artists are over there with him. So I'm saying we all working together. So when I've been doing these interviews, a lot of times they all been coming with me to the interviews, and I give each one of them they shine. And I think that's the part that you have to be a special artist to know I'm under a right team. My team gonna work for me. You can't be a hater on my team.
Right.
Right? Slim Thug, we all know that's my heart, that's my priority. That's who I've been with the longest, except for Bash. And me and Bash are family. We've been around each other. We watched kids be born, and we've been there in the hospital when things have gone wrong. We buried relatives together on both sides of it. When Bash's father passed, I said we was gonna take 3 weeks off. He said no. He was like, no, I don't want to take no time off. We did a show the night before the funeral. Funeral was in Fresno, California. We did a show in Florida, I think it was, or Baltimore, and it was Baltimore because there was a snowstorm or something, and the plane got delayed, and then the one plane that was going to go out said it had a problem, so I ran across and booked him a flight on a different airline before anybody could get over there, and he left without us, and we met him at the funeral. But I'm just saying, I use all these things to say the family, the brotherhood, you know, is a part of my management, man. It's the way we roll.
And I know you said you started off with a group from Oakland, from California. Are you originally from that area?
From the Bay, born and raised in the Bay Area.
So I mean, I know you have like a heavy staple out here in Houston. Like, how did you transition from California to Houston?
Man, it's crazy, right? Because my friend was doing a company called Ghetto Pass. He was a street team promoter.
Right.
So I started meeting artists from that. And then I met Jeff Clanagan, who put me on the comedy stuff, who then ended up with a label, had a group called In Too Deep, and it just started snowballing. How I ended up in Texas was I was with a label out of the Bay Area called Upstairs Records. They were a different type of label. They were a big label, but the songs that they were doing were energy songs, right? So right. It was they were Latins, and so it was a different level. Well, you guys had a guy out here in Houston called Charles Chavez. Charles was a radio rep, him and his brother Steve. They were radio reps, but he was starting a label called Latinum, Latins Going Platinum. So I came out here, he had signed Bash and wanted me to come out here for that. So that's how the whole connection came. And man, I never looked back. Once I got here, this was about a house in Colorado. So I've been going back and forth between Cali, Colorado, and Houston. And now I'm here, you know, full time. And so I just never looked back from that. That's all I can say. It was weird how it happened, man.
Okay. Let's talk about the DKG Entertainment.
Yeah.
So is that your own personal company?
That's my own personal management company. Okay.
Are you the only manager on that company?
Yep. Now what I do have is I have a kid named Pool Man. That's his nickname. We brought him in. He used to be with Kirko. He's doing a lot of the road stuff. But I hate saying road manager at times, right? Because I feel like when you call somebody a road manager, that's beneath the manager. Right? And even though the final say comes to me, I can only operate as big as my team, right? So I need 2 or 3 road managers, really. The problem is, like a Slim Thug, I use my boy Art Zuniga. He's been around us a long time. He'll road manage. I only have a couple people that my artists trust. So with Slim Thug, it's only me and Art. He ain't gonna trust no one else, right? Or if Rico or one of our team members, you know, from Boss Life go, that's different. But these artists grow trust in you, and it's crazy because Bash won't go overseas unless I go. So if you call me right now and say you got $100,000 for 10 shows to go overseas and I can't go, Bash ain't going.
And that's crazy because Baby Bash is an international artist.
Right. But what he thinks happened over the years we've gone together, so he knows it don't matter if you speak English, if you speak whatever, I'm going to get us through these holes and avenues. And so I think it becomes more, again, say it again, a brotherhood, a trust. You know you can trust one. Heavy's got $80,000. Now Slim gonna say, bring me the money, please, Heavy, right now. Matter of fact, no, where you at? I'm gonna pull up and get it. That's just the way they've always been out here. Bash gonna say, I'll get it when I see you. But they're never gonna worry about it being short or it being, you know. So again, it's a trust thing and it's a brotherhood.
Right. I know, you know, from being into this media game, you know, one of the main things you got to do is reach out, find out who the managers, find out how you can get these artists to come sit down with you and have an interview. So I know when I first started about 4 years ago, man, I think I was calling your phone like crazy, trying to get Slim Thug to come through. You know, I was trying to start off big as possible. But you know, just building these relationships, like I've been able to sit to do, you know, interviews and events for like Baby Bash, Slim Thug, some of the other artists that you manage, Keke. I also see that you have an artist that you're working with, Donnie Be Good.
Right.
That was actually one of man, probably our third episode, we had him and GT Garza on the show, and I know you mentioned GT Garza.
Yeah.
It's probably like my third interview I ever did.
Wow.
What did you see in Donnie Be Good that made you want to work with him? Because that's a, you work with a lot of legends, but that's an up and coming artist.
He came into my office, Pooh Man brought him in, and I just looked at him in his humbleness and his talent and what he was trying to get accomplished, the drive he had. And I said, man, he played the old Houston Nights, that old record he had. Yeah. Like, damn, how this record
going through the city?
Yeah, how the hell this record didn't get out? Right, this is the Houston anthem for real. Like this could have.
When he came to our show, he was pushing that, so that had to be 3-4 years ago.
See, and you didn't have none of the Houston artists on there. So at that point, whatever you were at in your career during that time, there was a tiny breakdown that whoever you were with didn't have the clout or the pub to get these artists there, right?
Exactly.
Like you should have had a scene with Slim Thug. Even if, to make it not a problem, somebody should have reached out and said, hey, Slim, where you at today, man? You gonna be at the gym? I just need you to reach out and throw the H up.